Hello, I'm MNelson, and I want to wish you a very happy summer solstice today. Or should I say happy Earth Day, because the solstices, twin solstices, and the twin equinoxes are the four fixed points on Earth's journey around the Sun, so they are literally Earth days, planet events, and I believe they are really good days on which to do something planetary. And as preparation for that, I think it's really important to take the long view and the big picture. So I should introduce where we are. I think and hope through the mist you have seen behind me Ayrshire Craig, which many of you will know is in southwest Scotland, so that's our basic location. Ayrshire Craig is a volcanic plug, quite a famous landmark, and this is the beach at Lendalfoot. Lendalfoot lies between Euclidian to the north and Ballantrae to the south. It's a beautiful part of the world, and this is where we've made our home, because we've been self-isolated since before the lockdown for, well, 3 months, exactly 3 months, because we travelled up on the equinox. But more of the equinoxes later. So I've introduced the location. I told you that it's important to take the long view and see the big picture, because I'm now going to take you on an adventure in time and space to do just that thing. I should just mention some of our neighbours around here. We've seen on the beach wonderful seals basking on a still day like this. There are gannets that live on Ayrshire Craig. We've seen them dive into the sea. Oyster catchers are very common here, gulls of course, and maybe a rock picket may fly by. But now, let's get on with our first adventure, Adventures in Time and Space. Follow me over here. So, it turns out that this beach at Lendalfoot is an extremely special part of Earth's crust. So this is the adventure I'm going to take you on. Come with me 500 million years ago. I think you'll agree that's taking the long view. There were continents, there were oceans, but not as we know it. All our continents and all our oceans did not exist. There were other continents and other oceans. There was, for example, Laurentia. Laurentia does in fact have a little bit of a remnant in Canada, the Canadian Shield. And there was another continent known as Avalonia, and that really doesn't exist, except of course Avalon in myth and legend. Between these two continents was an ocean called Iapetus. So, 500 million years ago, these two continents started to move together. The rocks beneath the ocean crumpled up, but mostly they started to disappear under Laurentia. They were subducted, like that, you can see. And they disappeared down into the Earth's mantle, all right? Except, and this is extremely rare on the Earth, just occasionally, you get a little fragment of the Earth's oceanic crust that doesn't get subducted, it gets abducted. That's where we are. This is called the Ballantrae ophiolite complex. Welcome. It's only a small area. It's maybe 3 miles down the coast that way, less than a mile that way, 4 miles inland. But all the rocks around here, extremely complicated geology, is oceanic crust from 500 million years ago. Okay? Now, that's exciting enough, but the camera is now going to zoom steadily down to this little bit of rock here, which has been behind me all this time. And you can see that it's blacky green. It's known as ultramafic dunite, and that is not oceanic crust. This is mantle rock. So this is rock from below Earth's crust, okay? So just imagine it in situ 500 million years ago. 1,000 to 3,000 degrees centigrade, unimaginable pressures, so that it is still semi-liquid. That's this rock here. Okay. One last thing to say is ophiolite. Fancy word. It's from the Greek. Ophios, snake. Light, ligneous, rock. It's snake rock because quite often it has a glistening, smooth, snake-like surface. And of course green rock is very unusual too. Okay. So that's your first adventure in time and space. So, for this second adventure, we just moved a few yards down the beach, still at Lendalfoot, and we're going to have an altogether different adventure in time and space. Much, much more limited in scope, except in some ways it's infinite, because we're delving into the world of math. But from the point of view of time, please will you spring back 3 months to the spring equinox in March, and fall forward 3 months to the autumn equinox in September. That's the opposite instruction, by the way, for remembering about the clocks, summertime and wintertime. So, springing back, falling forward those 6 months to the equinoxes. Now, the equinoxes are also Earth days like the solstices, but they have a special extra quality of equality. The clue is in the word, equinox, equal night. At equinox, the entire biosphere has 12 hours equality of night and day. And in that sense, we have a shared destiny. Very good days to do something planetary. That's my feeling. And it's something that I have been peddling for some time. I've made a logo to go with it, and that's what you're going to do now. This is your adventure. It's a registered trademark, and it's just the 2 letters E and Q, but it's made out of Euclidian geometry, and the really magic ingredient is that it employs a special proportion of phi, the golden section. So come with me, and off we go. So, armed with my trusty bicycle pump as compass, the first job is to make a circle. Now, thus. Second job is to make a square around that point. So we'll draw an equator, and using the clipboard for a right angle, off I go. On. This is going to go on extend. I'm going to extend it now for reasons that will become apparent. There we go. One circle, one square. The next job is to draw a new radius for a new circle. From here. Okay. This is where my bicycle pump gets clever. Place that in. And off I go. Hopefully. There. We can imagine that circle, that's just a segment, is a much bigger circle. This logo, and indeed the golden section, will reproduce at right angles, both getting smaller and smaller and larger, creating beautiful spiral patterns. It is nature's building block. We will now create. Now this rectangle has magical properties in nature and in culture. The Mona Lisa, the front of Notre Dame, the Imperial Palace in Peking, pyramids, the list goes on, but so must I. Back to our circles again, smaller circles.
we make another circle. Right. Oh, there. That's it. That's the basic geometry done. 2 circles inside the golden section rectangle. I'm going to clean up a little bit of the Euclid geometry and concentrate on the logo. Now we have generated it. There we go. Not needed on the void. Bit of free form. And I think you can see what's happening. Rub that bit out because that's going to be stroke of the E. There we are. EQ for equinox. Alright, and the finishing touches, courtesy of local seaweed, Lendalfoot seaweed. The sun comes out to illuminate our spring-like E. If I was in the southern hemisphere, the colours would be reversed because the March equinox is the autumn equinox in Australia. But there we go. We'll stay where we are. And then our Q, our autumnal Q. A little bit of profit, I see. There we go. I hope you're inspired to make your own logo. A logo registered trademark, specially devised so that you can make your own. There we are. How's that? So, adventures in time and space, 2 very different adventures. Thank you for bearing with me and enjoy the rest of the campfire. Bye bye.